G'day guys, got another reaction for you today. This one was requested by a Tigers fan from the TryPod Betting Podcast, episode 2 of the 2021 season preview featuring Clarky. Now, if it wasn't a dead giveaway that it was from a Tigers fan, they've asked me to skip through to the 11-minute mark when they begin talking about the Tigers. There is a bit of betting stuff in there as well, but I'm going to edit that out. If you want to see the whole video, go watch it. I'm not here to steal views. We're just here to open a dialogue about the football. Got my tea, Panther Bears ready, so we'll get straight into it.
Shall we move on to the team that came 11th last year?
Let's do it.
Okay, perfect, guys. We have the West Tigers. Now, I think they have recruited quite well. They have signed Dane Laurie, who looked awesome in the trial the other day. I think he scored 2 tries.
Yes, 2 tries, line breaks. Looks amazing. Feel very welcome, Cat Bros.
Uto Ikamanu. I can't pronounce this young man's name yet, but his name is Tukey, something Tukey. And they actually traded Kane Bradley to the Cowboys for him. I will get his name before we finish this segment. They recruited Joe Alfahen-Gowie, James Tarmo, and James Roberts, but they do lose a fair bit of talent here. They lose Josh Aloiai, Kane Bradley, Oliver Clark, Matthew Eisenhuth, Robert Jennings, Benji Marshall, Chris Lawrence, Sam McIntyre, Josh Wren, Elijah Taylor, and Paul Momirovski. Now, the one...
And before he says anything, none of those players, other than maybe Chris Lawrence, I don't think Tigers fans really care whether they stay or go. They're not the players that are going to make or break games for them. That's being brutally honest. Chris Lawrence was a fan favourite, but other than that, I mean, it's not like fans were screaming out for Benji Marshall to be a starting half for them. I mean, I think a lot of people now accept that Luke Brooks needs to be the dominant half. It's like Mitch Moses, Nathan Cleary. It's the same with all of them. You need a dominant half and then a supporting half. That's how it works. So even big bad Benji Marshall, I think it was a good decision.
One positive for Tigers fans is a lot of the players they did lose were on large contracts, and so that is a positive sign moving into the future this year. And I know that Dane Laurie, it does look like he's going to perform very well this year at fullback, but we have to be...
Of course he is. He's going to be amazing. You watch him get like Rookie of the Year or something, he is very, very good. And the thing that a lot of people don't realize is, he can ball play. You saw it in the trial, but he's almost as fast as Charlie Staines. So we had 2 very, very quick fullbacks there. Look out for that. He gets a half gap and he'll be right through it.
Realistic here. There are some more positives, such as young players coming in, Stefano Utakamano into the forward pack. But then, James Tarmo is a fantastic leader. But I think I have to draw the line there at the positives for the club, and I still have...
He's basically just named why I think they're going to be in or close to the 8. There were some tweets the other day talking about James Tarmo even when he was off the field, when he'd been interchanged. And every time the team did something, was score a try or whatever, he'd be basically riling the boys up, getting everyone into it, making sure everything they do is as a team. And it showed the difference on the day. They look more unified. And everyone said it about Penrith last year. And maybe it's our weakness. Don't know. But I think with Isaiah Yeo being our captain, it won't make a huge difference. But this will be huge for the Tigers, though. Because it's something they've lacked for a long time, is good, stable leadership.
Them in the bottom 4 this year. The reason being...
Ouch. I knew that one. I haven't seen this. I didn't know everything that was said, but I knew that one because I'd seen it before he'd blocked me.
How could this happen to me?
It's kind of sad, but we'll move on.
Is, at the end of the day, their best half last year was Benji Marshall. Their best player overall.
That's not saying much, though. He was responsible for some of their attacking stats, but he couldn't defend to save himself. That was why he got dropped. And you need to be able to tackle. Jerome Luai and Nathan Cleary were both top 5 halves last year, but Jerome Luai was still criticised for his defence. You know what he did? He went away and he worked on it over the off-season. He looks bigger and stronger this year, not to a ridiculous degree, but in the trial he was defending a lot better. And he accepted that responsibility because rugby league is a game of 2 sides, you attack and defence.
Was Harry Grant, and their best forward was Josh Aloiai, and they've lost all 3.
But they were never keeping Grant. Wasn't happening. People keep talking about, they lost Grant, like as if it was, Tedesco or someone. He was never theirs. They were just borrowing him. He was getting a bit of experience. He was always going back to the Storm. The idea that he was going to stay and revive the Tigers is nonsense. That falls on Luke Brooks. Always has and always will, unless eventually they get sick of him. But at the moment, they're backing him, and so they should.
Compiled the fact with that Michael Maguire, yes, he had success at South Sydney Rabbitohs, but he had a phenomenal roster. He doesn't have a Greg Inglis in this side. He doesn't have a Sam Burgess.
No, but he has workers like James Tarmo, and he has James Roberts, who's keen to prove himself after years of, being James Roberts. There's a lot of issues there. And then you've got your Rocks and Diamonds players like your Luluwais. These are the guys that a hard worker like Madge will whip up into shape. He can get the diamonds out of them, which I have every confidence he can. Well, then it completely flips everything on its head. Even BJ Luluwai came out, last week? I think there was an article, maybe the week before. Can't remember exactly. When he was talking about he himself was ashamed of how he was last year. He said straight up, they brought me in to make the team better. That's why you sign a contract and that's why you get game time. And he didn't do it. He said he was unfit. It's the attitude you want. If he can get that attitude into players and get them playing for the team, well, all of a sudden you've got a team of dangerous players.
And Adam Reynolds, he has a halfback in Luke Brooks that, no offense, has never played finals.
And I hate that stat. Really hate that stat. It makes me angry. That's not his fault. Sure, he could have played better football, but he's never been the dominant voice or mentality on the field while he's been there. He's had to contend with Moses, Marshall, Farah. Now they've brought in Tarmo, made him captain, given him Adam Dewey, who's a big body, can ball play a bit, but he's not going to dominate over Brooks. That's what I said about Nathan Cleary. If you go back and look at 2019, I made a video. I said the same thing about him. You watch him improve. And I see the same thing with Luke Brooks this year. And you saw it in the trial. He was playing both sides of the ball. He was very confident, just backing himself. And I think that's what Madge has done for him.
I mean, almost any other team would have booted him out of the door.
You know why they didn't? Because they've had ridiculous instability at both board and coach level particularly. You can't dump that on the players. They need stability, and without that, what are they going to achieve? Nothing. As they say, success starts at the front office. Tigers have now just coming into a decent, stable club, really. Madge is where it starts. If they keep him long term, he will build you something. They just got to not quit on him.
I don't know how many seasons Luke Brooks had, but it's been a few. And in regards to that, here we go. I'm getting it up on Wikipedia now. 2013, he debuted, Jacob, and they haven't played finals with him.
It's not on him. It's a team sport. And yes, we like to blame the halves, but as I said, he's never been the dominant half. He's never been the guy running that team. What do you want him to do?
Let's look at another team that is successful, such as the Roosters. Well, they booted Kyle Flanagan because they didn't make a grand final. Not make finals, did they?
Yes, and then they brought in, they'll be playing one of two rookie halves. There's more to that story than we didn't make a grand final, essentially. They're downgrading to someone with less first grade experience, if that's even possible from Flano.
Didn't make a grand final. They booted him 1 year in. And so Luke Brooks has been able to sort of hide under the radar for so long at the Tigers because the whole club as a whole has been mediocre. I think their board continues to make mediocre decisions and signings. And I've just got so much negative to say for the Tigers, unfortunately.
What signings? This year it's been nothing but positives. Bloody Luciano is amazing. BJ, is rocks and diamonds, can be a bit dumb at times, but if he fires, which I do believe Madge can do, as I said earlier, he's another very good player. Tarmo, he's going to be by the season. Dane Laurie, one of the best young players coming through. He's going to do an absolute phenomenal job at fullback. So I think that's a very baseless accusation there from Clarkey.
And they're one of those clubs where there will be some positives. And I feel bad because I was saying so much negative stuff about them last year, but I have to be realistic. I can't see them improving too much in 2021.
I love how animated you've gotten with them, and I'm actually going to make the case why they can be better this year, and that's why I think if they're better than people think, they could be a team where we get value. Now, as always, they're lacking that bit of class. Like, it's the same story every year, and you talked about the board and the recruitment. They haven't had like a roster that has been in contention. I think they are on the longest finals drought of any of the NRL clubs. Now,
exactly. You don't go on a massive streak like that just because of one player. There's a lot more problems there. And I like how he's picked them ninth. It says on the screen there. just might as well meme it, right?
The loss of Benji, you wouldn't think that would be a positive. And you talked about Luke Brooks. I'm going to plant my flag and say I think he has a good year. And I think the fact that Benji leaves and that Josh Reynolds is gone, it's given him now ownership. Don't forget, I think he won halfback.
Hey, you agree with me. I like that guy. Knows his football.
Dally M halfback of the year like 2 or 3 years ago. And I think it threw him off playing second fiddle last year. I actually think he can combine really well with Adam Dwayhe, who moves into 5'8". I like that move. And I love the pickup of Dane Laurie that you referenced as well at fullback. I think that could end up being one of the pickups of the season. That then allows you to
See, I'm not crazy.
play Moses and Bai in the centres. But they got options.
We're both crazy. I don't know, one or the other.
There because they got Leilua and they signed Roberts and they got a couple of other exciting young outside backs. You pick up 2 solid props in Tamau and Offengawi, guys that have played rep level. Harry Grant leaves a massive hole, which you alluded to as well, which means it's a huge season.
But they do have, is it Simpkins coming through? Very highly rated. So I'd expect he's the one going to be getting developed over the season. He'll probably play off the bench. I think I've seen a lot of Tigers fans say.
Season for Jacob Little. Look, I think it'll be a tough year for them in the sense that they somehow expect to make the finals and Madge flogs them when they don't win, and that can wear them out. But you know it's a fit team that fights hard. I'm not taking the piss here.
The flip side to that though is if the players buy in, it becomes golden. And that's where, again, James Tamo comes in. He will keep everyone honest, he'll keep everyone accountable, and he'll keep them as a unit. But then they're all going to buy into the hard work, and they're not going to be feeling sorry for themselves because they're going to understand what they're doing and where they're going and what it's trying to achieve. Totally different mindset they've had probably in a very long time. I don't think they've had leadership like that for years.
I'm going to predict that they'll come ninth.
Just go full meme. Full meme.
It took me a while to realise the reference. Yeah. Look, I know you're speaking on Luke Brooks improving there, and I do agree with almost every other point you had there. A lot of people do hit my inbox and say that they have the Tigers in the top 8, and their reasoning is Luke Brooks will have a fantastic year. Well, the facts are in 2017 and 2018, he was the Tigers Player of the Year. In 2018, he was the Dally M Halfback of the Year, and the Tigers did not make finals
because everyone else sucked. I mean, yeah, it's a slight exaggeration, but the fact of the matter is it takes more than one player to make finals. I mean, what do you expect? It just shows that he can do it.
Then, how much more higher is Luke Brooks' ceiling? Given, if he's halfback of the year, Dally M halfback of the year, how much more can he really do to get the Tigers into the finals there? I know that the responsibility ultimately always falls on the halfback when a team doesn't do well, but I don't think he should cop the full brunt of why the Tigers aren't a successful club at the moment. As I said, that decisions that lies with their board. Their board.
It's a huge contradiction to say, well, they haven't made finals, so therefore I don't think Luke Brooks can do this. But then to also say it's not fair to lump it all on him. Either it's his fault or it's not.
Has made some very questionable decisions over the year, released some very questionable players, and signed some very questionable players. But we will move on to the 12th team now from last.
Oh, we're just here for the Tigers. Thank you, Clarky. I don't know. That's a bit contradictory for me. I think it's acknowledging there's positive signings while denigrating the club for making terrible signings and blaming Luke Brooks for not getting them to finals, while also, like, at the end they're saying it can't all be on his shoulders. So which is it? And then admitting that he has been Dally M halfback of the year, but saying he can't reach a level. All in all, I think they've made... I think it goes to show they've made good signings. Luke Brooks has shown he has potential. And they now have proper leadership within the playing group that can enforce the coach's plan, as it were, his vision, and get everyone actually on the same page, because that's what you need. You can't just have the coach trying to be Mr. Hardass at everyone. You need someone in the playing group who's going to enforce that. And that's where Jimmy Tungo is. Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if there's anything else, video, articles, whatnot that you want me to respond to, we can do that. Have a good one, guys.